Live.
Let's go, Mets. We are live, and the New York Mets just finished up the biggest West Coast trip of the season, 7-3.
Whew.
And for the people at home that have noticed, I've been starting with the Let's Go Mets, like that fucking weasel George Santos said. I only do that after series wins. That's what I said. Now, this was a split, the last series. However, we're taking into account the entire road trip, 7-3 on the West Coast, which has been, let's see, how do I say this nicely? A motherfucker for us Mets fans. We know how this goes. We've seen it a million times before. And I know the way it ended kind of was like, 2 losses against the Giants. And especially last night was just a bummer. But you know what? It's a fucking good win. And I imagine we're all happy right now. Right, boys?
It was like I was just checking updates, so I didn't even get to see the action. I've been out of the loop with it. So, yes, more than happy.
Yeah. And let me just make this little scheduling note here for the people that are watching on YouTube. Our boy KFC will be coming on. He's doing an interview now, wrapping up. And our boy Kyle is back from his bachelor party. He survived. He's looking good. And our boy Meek is here. How are we feeling right now, Meek?
I'm feeling great. We had a 7-3 road trip just like we wanted to, and I got a new mic, so I'm not Darth Vader.
Yeah, no Darth Phil this week, unfortunately. He's gone to the light side yet again. And again, the Mets, the Mets win in San Francisco, go 7-3, win the first 2 in San Francisco, lose the last 2. 8-2 would have been a fucking marvelous road trip, just because we also would have then been in first place as we started the week. But shout out to the Astros for taking care of business down in Atlanta. I looked this up because I'm an old man that cares about these things more and more. The next games that are after like a 7:10 p.m. start, Memorial Day weekend, we have a couple in Colorado that are like 8:40 and 9:40. And then 4th of July week, we're at Arizona and San Diego. And other than that, other than maybe like an 8 o'clock game here or there, nothing is later than 7 p.m. Ooh. Fucking beautiful with the new pitch clock. I'll tell you, man, give me April West Coast trips every single year. Yeah. I'm already awake for playoff basketball and maybe even hockey, and your brain hasn't really got into baseball mode. It's when you're just staying up just for that baseball game, and if the bullpen has been pissing you off for a couple of days, you're like, do I really want to do this to myself right now? Our boy Kyle, I always come back to that Dom Smith game where he dropped that pop-up, and the fact you were up to like 1, 2 in the morning just to see him blow the game like that. And granted, like 16, 18 inning games are probably dead with the way the extra inning rules go. But this was delightful. I think KFC has he's canceled his extra inning ban because of that. And I've canceled my West Coast trip ban because it's not like soul crushing anymore in terms of staying up to God knows what hours. And this team, this franchise is fucking different.
I was pulling the numbers and it's like the big boys are hitting, but now that you got some of these other people coming along, we don't need them to hit every game. We just need to dink and dunk when we can. Listen to these numbers. We got Nimmo, 6 for 17, 3 RBIs, a home run, a double, a sac fly. He's hitting 350. Alonso had 8 RBIs and 2 home runs this past series, and McNeil went 8 for 15. That's insane.
Good Lord. And the best part about it is when you're watching your games at night and you need to just, you're getting your Mets in, get yourself a Coors Light, and it helps make everything go down so much smoother. Why? Because it's cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged. Cold package, we're talking, boys. That thing's going in the package cold. It's coming out the package cold. It's going down my throat cold. It's literally made to chill. Our boy Kyle was in Puerto Rico for that bachelor party, and I'm sure you enjoyed a couple of Coors Lights with some nice blue mountains, right?
That's true, I did. And you know what? The World Baseball Classic, we might have been wrong on that because that place is everywhere. I was like, oh my God, this would be Kevin's nightmare.
This WBC from sea to shining sea in Puerto Rico. So sometimes days get so crazy you forget to make time for fun. When that happens, you got to choose the tails. So go ahead, say yes to midweek happy hours and catching the Mets game after work. Maybe they'll just watch replays of the WBC there because it sounds like they live and die for that shit, which we love. While you're at it, pour a nice cold Coors Light, a proud partner of the New York Mets. So pair your plans with a nice cold Coors Light, the beer that's keeping New York chill. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Drizly or Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/believe. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. You mentioned him quickly, Kyle, and I want to we'll get Kevin's thoughts on him because he's become his guy. Brandon fucking Nimmo is a fucking star. Yeah. It's time to just acknowledge this man has become a star, homegrown star, right in front of our eyes. I think we all remember when he got drafted. What was it? Was he 15th? Is that right? 15th pick. I
I
feel
think
like
he was 11th. I think he was 1 pick ahead of Jose Fernandez, RIP.
Oh, geez, I didn't even realize that. So that's a whole other issue there. As you know, Wyoming had like 6 people in the entire school, and they kind of talked about it last night on Sunday Night Baseball. I unfortunately listened to a little bit of the broadcast last night, and this guy in the field, at the plate, in the outfield, whatever you want to do, all he does is make fucking plays. Nimmo BP, I can't even use that as a thing anymore. He is so much bigger than that.
Yeah.
And did you see that list where it's like current players on base percentage rankings? He's 6th, and everyone above him is a fucking superstar. It's Mike Trout, it's Bryce Harper, it's fucking studs. And it's time to just fucking tip your cap, throw your flowers, whatever the fuck you want to say. This guy is a legitimate star. And does he still lead in WAR? I know he was leading in WAR. Like,
he might. I could check.
You know what the weird thing is? It's like he's been good for a while, but for whatever the reason, this year it just seems like everything has clicked and aligned at the same time. When you're like, this guy's an undeniable all-star, whereas he's never been one before, which is also crazy to say because he's been good for so long.
Yeah, he's tied with Acuna in WAR at 1.6 on Fangraphs.
And now he's going to steal bases?
Yeah, exactly. And I sent this to the group chat before. I was in my fantasy league just kind of looking for some stolen base guys, and I sorted by stolen bases and looked at all players. Ronald Acuna has 12 fucking stolen bases already, which is ridiculous. And I guess the Braves took that rule change. I'll be honest, boys, after last season, I thought there was a chance Acuna was just going to lose a little bit of that speed after he had those injuries, and it's just one of those things that maybe he'd never recover from. I'm going to say he's recovered from it pretty fucking well so far because the man is he has 12. The next highest guy is 9. It's crazy the amount of steals he's had so far.
You think Ricky Henderson's just sitting at home like, I would have 1,000?
I need like Fangraphs or one of those like what was the name of that? Stratomatic, someone to try to figure out Ricky Henderson in 2023, what he would do, because it would be fucking his numbers are stupid to look at now. When it wasn't in this era, I can't even imagine what it would have been. So that's a little preview for the Brave series coming up. But back to the West Coast. So Kyle, did you leave for the Giants series? Was that, or did you?
I just missed the entire Giants series.
You just missed the entire Giants series.
I had it up on my phone a little bit here and there. I was pretty much following along as it was going down, but not watching it because they had it on the random ass channels. I hate when it's not on SNY because it's like if it's on Pix 11 or ESPN or whatever, then it's like the experience is totally different. But yeah, I mean, every time I opened the app, I was like, Pete Alonso has another home run, and like the group chat's blowing up. I'm like, the last time I went on vacation, I was gone for the Mets run when they went 12-2 to open the season. So every time I leave, they win. So at least we got that going for us. If we get into a funk, you guys are just going to have to pay for another vacation for me.
Consider it done. Beats the hell out of running on a treadmill, right?
Yes.
Getting yelled at for losing games when you're on the treadmill. We'll just send your ass on a vacation. That first game, you said it. Pete went fucking Pete yet again. 2 for 4 ribeyes, steaks. Just absolutely mashing, hit a home run. Senga looked good in the beginning, kind of hit a wall, which he does, time and again. But that was like an absolute laugh for 9-4 start off that trip. And I still don't know what to make of the Giants because they do have guys that you're like, all right. And I feel like they're getting guys back healthy. I know Jock came back last night. I forgot. I didn't even know he was on their team. You never know where Jock Peterson is at any given moment. But they win the first game 9-4. Then the second game, which I think was the highlight of the entire trip, was our boy – the highlight, of the series, because that fucking Dodgers series had some moments. Our boy Cherv coming out, Joey Fuego. I forgot the nickname Joey Fuego. That brings me so much more confidence in that guy. That almost brings me more confidence than the fucking performance he had, which was 7 innings, 9 strikeouts, obviously no one runs, 4 hits, and honestly, the best pitching performance we've had all season is coming from Joey motherfucking Fuego. I can't believe what I saw there.
You can't say enough about him. Like, I'll say this: before he got Tommy John, he was starting to figure it out, and then it's just, oh well, we're not going to see him forever now.
I mean, he was like, we were lining him up to be a guest on the show back, and it feels like 2 years ago now because it basically was.
Yeah,
and it was like he was electric. He loves the atmosphere. He loves like the big moments. He's hoping everyone's just so everybody out there next time he's up, you got to start chanting Cherv because that's his vision of his dream board. But yeah, I couldn't believe that because again, I wasn't watching closely, and anyone who's a Mets fan is texting me like, I cannot believe this guy's doing this right now.
Yeah, and from everything you heard, and we had the Trevor May interview back in 2021 when he was telling us about Cherv, which is like that feels 1,000 years ago at this point. I don't know if my brain, it's because I'm getting old. I feel like the pandemic kind of ruined the concept of time in our brains. And the Mets are like, I think 2020, I think last season was a new era for Mets fans. That's when it all started. I think we're going to hopefully have a lot of those seasons moving forward in the Steve Cohen era. That was 2021. Cohen had taken over, but it was still like the Wilpons gears were still in the machine. It's a completely different team, right? It's crazy just how much has changed since the Joey Fuego start. And hey, Joey Fuego, still welcome on the podcast. We'd love to have you, pal. He is even the Tank. I saw the Tank went online. He honestly didn't know how to respond. He's like, Joey, you had the best start of the season this year. You know, Pete Alonso's still mashing motherfuckers. It was a sight to behold. And by the way, Pete Alonso hit his league leading 10th home run in that game. Dead central, just crushing balls right now. MVP is in the equation.
I'll say Max Muncy has 11 right now, so Pete's on notice to go nuts in this Nat series.
Oh, here we go.
I can't believe that he's putting up those numbers, Muncy. Like, you think Pete's going off. I'm like, how the hell is this? He's got 10 home runs and he's second in the league. What's going on? So Pete's going to have a multi-home run game at some point to overtake that, because you just know he always does. But to go to Lucchesi, just what he's able to put together in one start, is that enough for you guys to hit the eject button on Peterson?
Yes, compared to the other guys, yes, Joe Lucchesi can stay in rotation as long as he wants. I've seen enough.
So that's fair. I think that is probably the point we have to get to now, is now we're kind of giving the thumbs up or thumbs down on the other pitchers here. So let's just start from the top. Max, obviously the suspension, decided not to appeal. He should be back by that Monday Braves game, right?
Yes.
That's the way they worked it all out, which, hey, I'd rather him do that instead of trying to fight it. Phil Cuzzy's a dildo now and forever. Verlander pitched on Sunday, had his bullpen session. Rehab start Friday, and then potentially Detroit is when he
I think he'd line up either Thursday or Wednesday, depending if they want 5 or 6 days.
Yep. Jose Quintana, dead. He's not alive. He's not a real person anymore. He's left us. His body may be on Earth. His soul is in heaven.
Carlos Carrasco has a bone chip. He can either be out 2 weeks or out for the season. We don't know.
Yes, the cookie has crumbled. So now we have to pick apart our 5th spot in the rotation and just start, ripping people apart. And again, Senga has been just fine for what we did. He actually thought he would have, more trouble, adjusting to it. And I think by the time, I'm hoping second half is when he really starts, cruising. And he's been pretty good so far. First up, David Peterson. Phil, I believe you said you wanted to get off the David Peterson as my guy.
Yes, Joey Lucchesi is my new friend now. I'm done with David Peterson.
Yeah, it's tough right now. Our boy Peterson, all business Peterson, 7.36 ERA. And it's hard to say it, though. But I know it was going around the group chat. I think Steven Matz's name was thrown around. I believe Kevin called him John Neese for a second there. So you just have those lefty guys from the system that you just want to see something from. You get like the little whiff of it at one point, and then they just let you down. I think David Peterson may be that guy. So are we ready? Like I'm ready just to go full bore on Cherv because of the nickname Joey Fuego. It was one goddamn start against a god awful or a pretty bad team. Are we just going full bore ahead and we're saying we choose Joey Cherv over David Peterson?
I think so. And I think it's more of like they're going to throw him back in the bullpen because he's been there before. So it's like if you're not going to be able to figure it out and locate your pitches for 5 innings, you gotta figure it out for at least 1. So that they're going to put him back there. They'll see if it works. If it doesn't work, then I don't know what you do.
His slider was like one of the best pitches in baseball last year, and now he's like completely screwed it up to where it's like being hit all around all over the ballpark.
Right.
Now, if we can still send Peterson down.
Yeah, right? He has options.
And that's the thing. I think that's what separates him from, I'd say the veterans on the team. We don't have any veterans. They're all fucking hurt. We said, building around a old rotation is kind of scary. Well, guess what? Just like last year, all our old vets are not showing up because, Max got hurt. He had the suspension. Verlander hasn't pitched a fucking game in the regular season for us. And we're still fucking winning. That's the thing. Yeah. I truly believe from the top on down, Cohen, Buck, the coaches, and the players, it's a fucking machine now, boys. And it's the infrastructure. It's all that little stuff. And again, like we have good players. I'm not going to say we don't. I truly feel like there's all this shit going behind the scenes. This is how you build yourself into the Dodgers. We're fucking on the very beginning of that trail. But the fact that we're still winning, despite throwing Joey Chirv, Jose Budo, all these goddamn guys out, the bullpen just comes up, brings the guy up, gets 2 innings, 0 earned, and then we just keep it moving. The guy goes back to Syracuse, and we may see him in a few weeks. It's crazy that this thing is becoming a machine slowly but surely. And granted, I know, I think, is it still the case where no team in California has a winning record still? I saw that stat the other day.
No, the Dodgers are back over 500.
Back over 500. Okay, but the A's are a fucking disgrace to Major League Baseball as a whole. The Giants are struggling right now, and the Dodgers haven't hit their 30 wins and 32 games streak yet. But at the same point, we just go out and win. Just like everyone wanted to discount those Marlins series, the Marlins, last I checked, were 12-9. They're in 3rd place right now, and those 4 of their 9 losses were to us. So at some point, you have to start giving the Mets credit for who they have, other than just accounting when they play the Braves, the Dodgers, the Astros. And
wait till we play the Pirates. When we play the Pirates, it's a real opponent we got to play.
Yes, exactly. It's fucking wild. And it's still only April.
That's how you know. When the Pirates are sitting at the top, when they did the preseason predictions, they had a 0% chance, and then it had an asterisk saying they also don't have a chance next season. Literally was on there that way. By the way, they're so bad that they might not win next year too. We're looking ahead.
They lost the human glitch, O'Neal Cruz, too. It's they're doing it without him. It's fucking, it's ridiculous. And as that's one of those things that's easier to root for, right? I truly believe if you are rooting against the Detroit Lions, the Pittsburgh Pirates, unless you're in their division, and even if you're in their division, it's I want to see them succeed. I don't want to see them beat us, but I kind of I love that fuck.
They're not a team you hate.
Yeah. And trust me, we have plenty of reasons to hate him after that fucking, when Kevin said it right before the All-Star break, when everything just went to shit against during those series. But it's awesome to see, but it's still early. But I don't know. So let's see if Max and Verlander come back. You have Senga, and then is it then McGill? And now I'm going to put this on the record now. April 24th, 12:19 p.m. I'm still not sure I want McGill starting these games because I know he looks good. He looks better than Peterson at the very least, which isn't saying much. But if he gets hurt and he's out 2 months, he does us no fucking good. And then if one of these old guys gets hurt again, we don't have him as an option. You said it best, and this is going to become, I think, a weekly thing on We Gotta Believe. I miss Trevor Williams. Se llamo Trevor, me gusta mucho, mi amor.
We really took him for granted last year, just being a bulldog, coming in no matter to score, eating innings. That team really lacks this right now.
Yeah. And
we got what's his name came in when Scherzer got tossed though.
Jimmy Yacobonis.
Yeah. Yacobonis. I cannot remember that guy's name because he was nowhere near my radar when the season started. But I mean, he got through it and he's got stretched out.
Him and Jeff Brigham, not bad. The bullpen did pretty solid outside of the one Drew Smith inning.
Yeah, Jeff Brigham is I made him Brigham friend. He's officially on the friend list after that. I thought he was going to get his teeth kicked in, but every time he's come in, he's come through, hasn't allowed an earned run yet, and he's been awesome. Even Raleigh, who problematic as he is off the field, on the field, he's been fucking lights out, and another lefty guy where we've demanded that Epler trade for a big lefty or pay for one, and he just goes out and finds these guys, and they kind of just do the job for us, right? So,
I'm just a little worried that the starting pitcher's not going deep enough in the game, so now we're burning 4 innings of bullpen a night. So at some point we need starters to go deep so we can give these guys some rest.
Well, that's the thing. Then when the pieces don't align, it's right now we have hitting and we have relief pitching. We don't have starting, but because we don't have starting, eventually we're not going to have relief pitching. So they need to figure it out and offset that, and that would be an offset in the positive anyway, because they're going to go deeper in the game. I think Senga, I'm going to write off the Athletics start because we were blowing them out so much that he couldn't keep his rhythm. But the last one, he got touched up. I think the more that you're seeing him on tape and the more that teams are now going to be able to find out his consistencies, that's what he had going for him early. They didn't know how he was going to pitch, how frequently he was going to throw the ghost fork, the scouting reports, all that kind of stuff. So it's every month you kind of got to reinvent yourself if you want to be an elite pitcher in this league.
I don't know what the stats are, but I feel like it's the third time around the order it gets him each time.
Yeah. And again, when we heard the mound wasn't as high, the ball is smaller. There's a lot of adjustments he's going through that I didn't realize was going to be the case. And every time I get nervous about him, I just hear the ghost fork. And I'm like, oh, everything's fine. He has a fucking pitch. That's a glitch, even if it's just a very good marketing term by his people. So I feel pretty good about him being in there. And then it's just a matter of Max and Verlander showing up, which, by the way, I mean, we'll touch on the game on Saturday. Sunday night, did we really need 2 full fucking innings worth of breaking down the Max Scherzer sticky stuff situation? That just felt like it was, I mean, witch hunt. Phil's been saying it, free Max, all this kind of stuff. I appreciated like David Cohen giving his opinion, showing how the sticky stuff works and how the alcohol activates it and all that other kind of shit. Phil Cuzzy's just a dick. He's a stickler for this shit. He's gonna be a stickler for it. And until one other umpire throws out one other player in the 8 billion innings of a baseball season, I'm not gonna lose any sleep. I just think and I think Crucky said it too, because it's a little conspiracy theory, which, by the way, John Kruk looks like a huge conspiracy guy. And I'm not talking about just baseball conspiracies. You know what I mean? I think, is there a part of Cuzzy that maybe wanted to go at Scherzer and say, fuck it, let's get this guy and make him kind of the face of it, and other guys will fall in line, which, again, 3 fucking pitchers in the history of baseball have been thrown out for this shit, ever since they made the rules, and it's the same guy every fucking time. So I thought that was a joke. I'm not alone on that one, right?
No, Max is innocent. Free him.
And also the process of him to go through, it's like, can I talk to your manager? And then they turn around and turn back and they're like, yeah, I'm the manager. Like, what are you going to do? Because the appeal process, he was never going to win if he's just appealing it to the league who's got to back up the umpire. Like, you have an arbitration process. How do you not have an independent party that comes in and evaluates whatever's going on?
Yeah, and now every pitcher is going to be so scared to use rosin, because if you sweat too much and try to clean it off, you're scared to get got. And then, I know people are just like, why didn't Domingo Germán get suspended? The Yankees' punishment was having Domingo Germán actually pitch. So think of it that way.
Yeah. If any player gets hit with a pitch that gets away because the guy was scared of using rosin, that's on Phil Cuzzy's fucking conscience right there. So we're just going to put that out there right now. We touched on Saturday real quick. That was Peterson just getting his dick kicked in. I'll be honest, once it was, 6-1? I was like, all right, this is just going to be in the corner of my eye for the day.
I said this is the Frank fan fiction game.
Yeah. And they even had there was a couple moments this weekend with the umpiring really pissed me off. In this game, there was a couple moments where it was like a couple calls here and there that could have went either way. I feel like it's bullshit that we have to use our challenges, because half the time we're right, we still don't get the call. They still don't get the call right. And then there's another call that's even more egregious down the road, and it's like we can't challenge it, right? So between that, some balls and strike shit, they had a couple of rallies that you thought maybe they could cash in. I could live with that. And then obviously Sunday night they lose 5-4. Are we upset about the whole Ottavino Robertson over Drew Smith? Are we going to lose our minds about the bullpen on April 24th after saying, this bullpen's been hit already? The hidden part of that Scherzer ejection was we had to kind of tax those guys extra that day, when you think in a max start, he's going to do everything to get you at least 6. I can't really lose my mind too much at Buck. Yeah. I trust everything else he does.
What I would have done, I would have used Drew Smith for the 7th versus the bottom of the order, then Raley for the middle of the order, lefties in the 8th. But either way, you got 4 innings, 1 run out of your bullpen. You're taking that every time. They lost that game because Tyler McGill just got shelled.
He came into a tie game, correct?
Yes.
So I understand the thought process there by Buck. The only thing that makes me kind of question it is that they have an off day today. So it was like, if you were gonna worry about I might need Robertson tomorrow in a tight situation or whatever the case may be, but everybody's off today and they were traveling, and if the series is over, extend it, because all we have to do if you're looking at that team is get to extra innings. That's new baseball for us. If we're playing for extra innings, if we don't think we're gonna score a run against whoever, it's once we get there, we've got the advantage over most teams.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. It does, like you said, the travel day, and then, you can't think this as a manager, and these guys tell you all the time, every team is a challenge, but it's you'd hope you're going to get a 7-2 win against the Nationals that should give you kind of an off night against the bullpen, but that first game could come up, and it's this is going to be...
We don't even know who's starting on Tuesday night for us.
Do we think is it the butt man? Did the butt
I don't know. They can't call him up, but had an injury somewhere else, I think, is the rule. So maybe someone will have back spasms again to let him on the roster. I don't know who's starting otherwise.
it's been a wacky year so far in terms of just getting these guys up and down, and I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Bullpen game? I mean, they are playing the Nationals.
Yeah, Tommy Hunter for 2 innings, and I mean, I don't know what else after.
Tommy Hunter. Every time I see him warm up, I just smile. Like, that guy could do almost no wrong in my eyes. So who do we have here? So we got TBD on Tuesday, and he is Josiah Gray. Okay. Then Senga, Gore, Lucchesi, Williams. Our sweet Trevor is starting against us on Thursday.
I wish we could just trade for him right now. Just like take the switch dugouts, be easy on us.
I feel like Trevor Williams you could probably get for money at this point, the Nationals too, right? Like,
we just tell the Nationals, like, we'll give you like $20 million. We don't care if he's making like 16. We'll give you 20 for him.
Exactly.
The return of Dom Smith, who's hitting a whopping 233.
All of his hits are singles, I'm pretty sure.
He has yet to hit a home run.
I brought this up in the group chat, and it's something I shouldn't bring up on the show, but I'm going to. We have to just own it. There was a time on this podcast where we debated if we wanted to keep Pete Alonso or Dom Smith, because Dom showed that 2020 season where he was like a fucking like MVP candidate basically at the plate, and his defense was always his like calling card. And then Pete, we didn't know if he, as he got older. Yikes.
We thought we had a DH and a first baseman.
Yep.
We're like, the rule's going to kick in. Pete's going to move to DH, and we're going to have 2 guys who just bang everybody around. My God, those balls were a godsend to some of these players.
Yeah, for real, man. Lefty and righty too was perfect. And Dom was seemed like just a good guy that everyone liked, right? Yeah. And he is my guy. Riding, he was your guy, and he's now riding away on the Nationals. And anyone didn't love Dom Smith. I mean, okay, so I'm looking at the Nationals as we look ahead here. Kybert Ruiz as the catcher, Dom Smith at first, Luis Garcia at second, Heimer Candelario at third, CJ Abrams at short, Alex Call in left. I know Victor Robles in center, Lane Thomas, and Joey Meneses, the fucking 31-year-old masher. Boys, 2 or 3 at the fucking anything less than 2 or 3 is gonna, and even anything but a sweep is almost gonna feel.
They aren't Nats level bad to where they're disappointed if it's only. I mean, they aren't A's level bad where 2 out of 3 is disappointment, but it is a team you should sweep at home nonetheless.
Yeah, this isn't last year's Nats. This isn't your younger brother by a year's Nats.
They're still bad. Don't get me wrong. They're gonna lose probably 100 games, but it's not the Athletics who may lose 120.
Yeah, exactly. And again, our sweet baby boy Trevor Williams on the mound. I'm always going to – Trevor Williams and Joey Fuego going head-to-head on a Thursday night, man. There's a lot of love going to be in that ballpark. I always thought of, my guy Pat Mahomes Sr. That was, the guy who – long reliever, if you need to get a couple innings out of him. I don't know where that guy is. That's also a guy I feel very confident Billy Epler can find at some point. He could swindle a team for a guy like that. Remember Trevor Williams was the throw-in in the fucking Javi Baez deal. That's the thing everyone forgets about. It wasn't Epler's deal. I'm not going to say that was his. Javi Baez, by the way. I mean, God damn it. I think we all would have been happy if he came back, and I think we were also happy when he left. It was really the 2 sides of Javi. We lived that. I'm happy we got to experience the gift and the curse that is Javi Baez. But, oh, boy, our boy Castellani's going through it with him right now.
I don't think he'd be this bad if he was, in a city that cares. It's Detroit guy's money. The team's bad. He obviously is not going to show effort.
That's also the reason why we haven't seen Mauricio, and we're getting a big push to bring him up, because they're he's that type of swinger where they're we're not going to subject you to this until you prove that you don't swing at those pitches, because if you're swinging at them at AAA, when you come here, you're going to be swinging out of your socks all the time.
Yeah.
So anyone who's pushing for him to come, which I haven't seen it as much lately, that's what they're trying to avoid, because we don't want that.
Yeah, it's hard to sit here and say Vientos should be up, Mauricio should be up, when the guys that do have their jobs right now are actually hitting. Vogelback's hitting well, Tommy Pham's doing his job, and then Guillorme's getting on base at a good clip too. It's very hard to say we need to bring the guys up when these guys are actually doing their jobs. You can't kick a guy to the curb when he's doing well.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the guys who are up, though, the young guys?
Baty and Alvarez, I'll let Clem go.
Yeah, so we'll start with Alvarez. I think we've all been there. I mean, this started in the Braves series last year when he came up, and we were all dreaming of that magical moment, and the bat flew out of his hands, and he's fucking falling, and he's swinging at everything. And then earlier in the season, Kev said it, and I almost said this to the group too. He's up with the bases loaded in the biggest spot of the game, every single fucking time. And he never, ever, ever comes through. Then yesterday comes up, bases empty, home run, solo job. So I feel better about that. His defense being better than expected, which has happened a lot with the Mets, where I feel like if a guy is good at one thing and bad at the other, he comes up and ends up being better at the bad thing and bad at the good thing. But he's still a baby. I'm not going to say the nickname I came up with him, which feels like a Frank the Tank nickname. I'm going to hold that to 2024 because he's still young, still has time to show me something. But I'll say this, without that home run, I'd be feeling a little worse than I do right now.
I mean, yeah, you said all we heard about Alvarez coming up is the bat will play, defense is a work in progress, and it's just been the exact opposite in the 8 or so games he's actually played.
It's also like, Omar Narvaez may be coming back at some point soon. Like I've written,
it's not soon. It was 8 to 9 weeks when he got hurt.
Okay, so next month,
maybe.
Can we
get back because Nito's hitting 122, and here we are without James McCann, and we're getting James McCann levels of production out of that spot. I'm like, how does this happen? We always have 8 players. That's it.
When someone says the lineup drops off after 8, I'll allow them to say.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. And like catching is usually the one position you can live with it. But it's like when you get rid of McCann, you hear all this stuff about Alvarez. You're like, all right, we're going to have at least competent level. And when I saw the OPS plus, I know ESPN always uses that. And then they always have like the major league average is 100. And you see like Vogelback, for example, is 127. I'm like, well, that shows he's not a bad hit. Even though everyone in my mentions tells me he's the fucking worst player ever, he's still a good player, gets on base. And he, when he gets those runs, RBIs, home runs, it feels fucking good. -27 for Francisco Alvarez. Phil, I'm not a stats guy. That's why I always go to you. I didn't realize OPS plus went into the negative.
Yes, Eduardo Escobar's was that low at some point too, I think.
Oh God. So
James McCann is batting 143 though, for what it's worth. So
yeah, he had a home run the other night.
Yeah. You know, the other night I had Orioles fans like chirping me. RDT chirped me, and I was like, what? I was like, is James McCann like raking right now? And I saw he's batting like 143. I'm like, oh, there must be some sort of troll is going. I had someone trolling me about what's his name? Lindor. They were like, look at Lindor's numbers, and I'm like, he's batting like 220 or something.
But all of his hits,
OPS,
all of his hits are extra bases,
and he's second in WAR for shortstops. What are we talking about here? Lindor's at this point. Anyone trolling me about Francisco Lindor is literally trolling me because you cannot go watch that guy put up Gold Glove level shortstop and still do the things he does at the plate and be like, that guy isn't fucking awesome. It's banana land.
But on the flip side, Baty does look like a professional hitter. Like he looks very comfortable up there. You just expect he's going to end up with some sort of hot streak like he was just having in AAA. Dude, like I'm all in for wasting hits because he wasted a ton of them for 2 weeks down in AAA, and then he comes up and it's like you can't continue to hit at that clip at the professional level. So I do think we're going to see like a big pop from him, and when we do, this team's going to look much different than right now. Yeah. Right now they look good.
It also is weird how when it comes to lefty relievers, Buck will let him hit versus those, but when they're facing a lefty starter, he just has Eduardo Escobar hit. It's very weird. It's like you're not hiding him versus lefties completely, but you are in a way.
So I was going to go on a little bit of a rant about it, but on Twitter, and I decided not, again, growing up, being a better person. And again, I don't hunt out. I don't even go on the Mets community anymore. It's too crazy for me. But I just saw some stuff pop in on my feed, retweets, and people I follow tweeting stuff. Can we all just admit we don't know nearly as much about fucking baseball as Buck Showalter? I said this last year. And again, I don't think they're going to just hide Baty against every left-hander. But I think, especially if the matchup looks good, I saw so many people giving fucking Buck shit for sitting Baty, and then Escobar hits a home run like his first at bat. And it's like, everyone just shut the fuck up. You have to let everyone play a couple times during the week. What are we talking about here, man? So that was like my one take. I wasn't going to go into a whole thing. It's KFC mode at this point. If you just go on and just try to die on a hill fighting random people on the internet, it's just your mentions are not going to like you by the time it's all said and done. I think we just have to all admit, like, just let Buck handle the ship. He doesn't hate the fucking kids. Hence why we have like Baty and Alvarez playing every basically time they can. But Baty, Kyle, you said it best. Like, he just makes me feel comfortable up there, even if the results aren't what you want it to be. Like, what are his stats so far?
He's hovering around 220, something like that.
220, not really slugging, but it's like it's so early. But yeah, those hits saved us from having to watch Escobar at the plate, which was like, it was getting to the sad point of it, right?
But Escobar didn't have a pulse pretty much. Like, you kind of knew the at-bat was over before it even started.
Exactly. At the same point, though, Escobar's defense was always fucking there, and Baty committed the first error of the season, which I didn't realize. Was that for all of baseball, the longest?
Yes, since 1900. Just quietly setting a record defensively, this team.
That was nuts. Yeah, it was the longest start of season in the history of baseball, which I mean has been around for a couple of years. And our defense is just that. Like, I forgot how much I love watching Guillorme and Lindor turn that double play. Every single, even the routine ones look pretty, and then anything that isn't routine. And Jeff McNeil, like, you know, we'll be talking about him. He's like that perfect just utility guy, man. Being able to just move him to the outfield. Even Buck yesterday, pinch hitting for Guillorme, throwing Canna in the outfield, knowing you can then move McNeil in. He just gives you so many fucking options, dude. Yep. And he's a batting champion too. So it's like all that kind of shit really helps a lot. So I love Baty. I'm cautiously optimistic about Baty. The last guy I said this for was Jeff McNeil. I was like, I'm not going to just start loving this guy because he had a good end of the second half when he came up, and then he ended up being a fucking batting champion all-star. I'm cautiously optimistic about Baty. How do you feel about him, Phil?
I mean, he's hitting the ball hard almost every time he gets up. He looks very comfortable in the box, and I said this last year when he came up. The way he stands in the box, the way he swings, it reminds me of Christian Yelich. Now, if we get the MVP Yelich or the one now, it's kind of bad. That's left to be seen.
And let me just say this, too. It's another thing, and it shouldn't mean anything, especially because I'm a fucking Giants fan. I just love that Garrett Wilson's always just riding for us whenever Baty does something, because I love Garrett Wilson. He's such a fun player to watch. And I'm just like, yeah, fuck yeah, we got Garrett Wilson on our side. And we've seen that picture of them, you know, as teammates. When
Baty was his quarterback.
Yeah. That's incredible, man. That's so fucking awesome. I
had somebody call in for the post-game show already saying they hope that Nimmo and Pete don't get the C because they want Baty to get it. And I was like, we need to pump the brakes here, guys. Like, let the kid at least have like a home run this season before we start talking about the fact that he's going to be captain at some point. Like, people are throwing like the Volpe levels of expectations on top of this kid right from the start. I don't know how you live up to that this early, especially with what does he amount to in your guys' minds? I feel like he'd be like a 5-hitter. I don't see him like being David Wright, but I don't know. I need to see something that would lead me to believe that's David Wright, but you know what I mean? Like, to say, oh, you think he's going to be captain, like that good? I would love to see it, but like, come on. Those other two guys are seasoned professionals.
I think in past Mets lineups, he may be a 3-hitter, but not in this one. This one, I'd like him 7 spot.
That would be a lot of depth, so that'd be great.
Yeah, and you just like look at the lineup, right? And it's like you're gonna have McNeil here for a while. You have Pete here, Lindor here, and it's like it's hard to just crack that top half of the lineup just based on talent alone. And Nimmo's locked in at the. Oh, I just love Brandon fucking Nimmo, man. He just makes me smile. That interview with him was really good. Like, again, there's plenty of stuff to hate about the ESPN broadcast. That interview with him was just fucking awesome, man.
Do you know they pay the players for that? I just found this out the other day.
No.
They pay them like anywhere between $10,000 and $15,000 to do an in-game interview.
I'll say this: you have to pay the players to do that.
That's crazy.
I think it's next week. They're miking up Martin Maldonado, so we're gonna have a catcher mic'd up on Sunday Night Baseball.
They better get that censor button ready. They're fucking the guy behind them.
So, all right. So we both feel good about Baty right now, and again, the defense is, I think, that is where I think could be the problem is like the defensive stuff. But he got the double plays a couple times where, you know, there was that one where he kind of like let the ball come to him and he still had time.
It was a bad hop and a blowout. I'm not going to like care about it.
And again, when you have guys like Lindor and Guillorme in the infield with you, they're going to kind of like cover up any mistake you make. That's the thing. I know Gimme Jimmy, I think, is still fucking dominating on Cleveland. But if Ahmed Rosario was our shortstop right now, there'd be a lot more fucking the blood pressure in Mets fan land would be a lot higher just collectively. Because it's just having a shortstop, we say this how many times, building up the middle, shortstop, second base, center field. And everyone we have there is fucking tens at their job. So I'm feeling very good about that. I don't even know how to preview this national series. Like, win 2 out of 3. Don't fuck it up. Stay healthy. I guess figuring out who's going to be the pitcher on Tuesday's the big. Oh, also, I got to say, I love this off day today. This off day, you can watch any playoffs you want tonight. Obviously, the Knicks are off until Wednesday, but just kind of just if you have anything you have to do, you have to catch up on something with your girlfriend, or you have to, going out with the boys, or you just want to go to sleep early, you can just do it tonight. It's absolutely beautiful. 7:00 games every night, and then obviously goes right into Atlanta for 4 after that. So I kind of like that we also are having a kind of soft runway into the game, into the Brave series, where hopefully the bullpen is as rich as it's going to be if we can just take it to these guys' chests.
Yeah, the Nats are supposed to be the kind of team, they're like a drug you get high off of before you play the actual teams.
I like that. The Braves are playing the Marlins right now too, so that's how they're going to be getting into it. Which again, the Marlins have not been like garbage so far. When we play them, we win. But they're I think they're still third place, right? The Phillies have been just fucking wacky this year.
They took 3 out of 4 from the Rockies, but that's like the road Rockies. Like, we don't care. Like, they just did their job.
Marlins 12-10, Phillies 11-12, Nats 7-14. So that's where the standings are right there. And again, Braves plus 24 run differential, us plus 19, which, as you said, Phil, the other day, with the way people talk about our team, with the way they talk about the Braves, you'd think they're like 7 games up already. Yeah, it's absurd. And they have a great team, they have a great lineup, but their lineup's actually very top heavy, to where their top 4 guys do it, and then you have Eddie Rosario hitting 5th, and he's not even that good. We get shit for, like you said, we get shit for who the 8 and 9 hitters are.
Yeah, they have Kevin Clancy batting 7th, and imagine if that was us.
Dude, when I saw Villar on the field against, who is it, the Giants, and I'm just like, holy shit. Like, the Villar brothers were like the central key piece of our 2021 season. And now it's like, those guys wouldn't even sniff the field. Like, Tommy Pham would be like, get the fuck out of here, Kevin Villar. You're not getting any fucking burn. And like, VR, as much as I loved him too, it's like, Luis Guillorme is better than that guy in all aspects of the game. VR did have like a good run. I can't say
I forgot he existed until I saw him again, and I was like, oh, that's right. You just trick yourself into being positive when it comes to those type of teams. You're like, Pilar got struck in the face. All right, that's probably good for us moving forward. He's baseball tough, and it's like, okay, like, we're just gonna run with this instead.
Kevin was wearing the mask. Remember, Kevin would wear the masks on the streams. Like, especially as a Mets fan, you just convince yourself just to like, oh, their names rhyme, so we like them.
I mean, yeah, the 2021 offense is so bad. It's like, maybe more guys should get in the face. Yeah. We need base runners.
Yeah. And I guess we'll touch on this just because with the Giant series too. All right, Conforto, I kind of feel bad for. I hope nothing but the best for him. JD Davis, I guess all these guys. They pushed
JD Davis well this weekend. Like, I just want to highlight that. Like, they had all those former Mets: Darren Ruff, Wilmer Flores, JD Davis, Michael Conforto. None of them really had that big of a moment outside of like Wilmer's home run when it was already like out of reach. Yeah, I mean, we didn't have the Darren Ruff walk off or the Wilmer Flores 5 for 5. Like, it was just a normal weekend of baseball, honestly.
Is it wrong that I just want Darren Ruff to do perfectly fine? I don't want him to like crush and make us like regret like the whole trade and have to relive it every day like we did whenever Jared Kelenic hit a home run, in like single A. But I want Darren Ruff to do just like perfectly fine and just like live his life in peace in the Bay Area, and everyone forgets who he is other than Giants fans. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, like, just not versus us.
Yeah, that's all. Let them beat the Dodgers and the Padres, the teams we're going to probably be like dueling with in October. Take some wins against them, so if it comes down to the playoff seeding, and like same with, I mean, Wilmer obviously is beloved. I always like Conforto. I know he kind of had like a weird faction that divided the fan base, and JD Davis, like. It just was never going to work with him. It was never going to work. They're playing him at third, which is something he was never going to do.
Yep. And also, they're also not playing him versus left-handed pitching like Saturday, where that's all we gave him. He was our bat that's supposed to mash lefties. They don't even play him versus lefties, so they realize he has reverse splits.
And did you see the number they had last night where it was like his hard hit percentage?
Yeah, I saw that last year too, and it was always on the ground.
And it was since 2022. And I'm like, yeah. And then he'd also swing right through it where they don't count the swing right through a fastball down the dick at 95 miles per hour. We saw that every fucking time for like a month and a half straight before they traded him. And that's why I will not lose an ounce of sleep. I mean, I don't know if any of those prospects come back to bite you when they got Darren Ruff back, but I will not lose a minute of sleep over JD Davis because he fucking when he doesn't hit the ball, it cripples you, or it goes right into the ground, like Phil said, and it's a nice, easy double play because it gets to the shortstop.
Like he hit one last night.
Anytime I hear anybody talk about exit velo, I always just think of Eric Campbell, because the guy had the highest exit velo of all time, and they were like, he is hitting the ball directly into the ground.
Dude, like Mike Puma has, like Eric Campbell's like one of the first guys they actually looked at exit velo for, but didn't realize launch angle was a thing back then.
It's like the anti-Willie Mays Hayes, where it's like, just hit the ball in the air, dude. Like, please, for the love of God. I did see people are asking about captains. I think I don't think anyone should be captain.
We're not at that stage yet.
Yeah. I think like World Series, we could start talking about I think David Wright, and this is obviously David Wright's my guy, and I'll admit that he's by far my favorite Met ever, and I don't think anyone will overpass him. David Wright, from every single person we've talked to that was like involved with the team, works around the Mets, was like, he's basically Jesus Christ. You give that guy captain, I can live with it.
Yep.
But other than that, I got to have a guy who like at least wins an MVP, if not a fucking World Series, before we throw a C on the chest, right? I think we can all agree with that.
The one before him was Keith, so it was like, you didn't need to be homegrown. Just win for us, and then you've earned it. Just one. That's just one.
Yep. And that captaincy stuff, I don't think it even like plays here. I know like the Yankees, obviously with Jeter and stuff like that, it's a big thing for them over there, but I don't think it's like the same here with the Mets. And then other than that, I think Kyle, you touched on it earlier about Mauricio getting moved to second. I think that's just the long-term play here. It has to be the play.
It's like as a backup in case someone gets hurt. So it's like you can just call them up.
Yep.
But we got Barstool at the ballpark this upcoming Saturday. It's no tickets.
It's no tickets sold out. I'm waiting to hear back yet again. I'll hit up our rep yet again. But as of now, no tickets. I'll have an update by the Thursday show with the absolute latest. We'll obviously put it out on all the socials as well. If we hear,
I'm expecting a sellout there. So, don't bank on it. If you're trying to get tickets, you might just have to, come say hi to us. We're going to be in the Big Apple Reserve. And then the next date after that's going to be July 1st, Bobby Bonilla Day. Don't wait to get your tickets. That's what we're learning quickly with this season. Everybody's trying to get out to the ballpark this year. July 1st, the link's in all of our bios. Go get those tickets now if you want to be out there with us.
Yeah, if you go to at the Clem Report on Twitter, it's my pinned tweet. The link, I'm going to make an easier link just so we can put it out there. But again, these tickets were 2 for 2 on sellouts, and that's like weeks before the game happened. So Bobby Bonilla Day, I'm hoping Uncle Stevie puts a legitimate thing together for it. I know they had to hear back from Bobby Bo about it, but this is lining up perfect. 4:00 game against the Giants, who we just talked about. 4:10 game, so nice during the day. 1:15, you get either 3 hours or up to the 7th inning in terms of all you can drink beer. There are some seltzers included with that, and maybe even like a wine or some sort of a wine thing. Sodas. Then you get $18 food credit. And obviously a ticket to the game. That giveaway, the Braves giveaway is that weird Mr. Mets voodoo doll, right?
Yep.
And then let's see if there's a giveaway for
Bobby. Giveaway for Bobby Bo as of now. That might change.
Yeah.
That's the only one that doesn't have one.
They're basically they have a ton of giveaways in June. They have some pretty sweet. Did you see the Starling Marte Black
Wakanda?
Panther? Yeah, it's incredible. And then after that, our next Barstool the Ballpark after Bobby Bonilla Day is July 15th, and that's when it goes to 7:15 games, and that's Dodgers Mets. That's going to be an absolute that's going to feel like a showdown. That's going to feel like one of those series like October previews and stuff like that. So check out, if you go out to Clem Report, it's my pin tweet. Get them now, or else apparently they're just going to sell out real quick. We're in the Big Apple Reserve now, right next to the Apple. It's where they usually put the 7 line and stuff like that. And you get your if you're getting the tickets right in that little bullpen entrance there, that's where you scan your ticket. They give you the bracelet, and then you can scan your ticket at any concession stand, including Shake Shack and the chicken places and all that stuff to get. It just takes it off of your voucher, $18. And then when is our first watch party? We have watch party coming up, I think in May, right?
Yep, we got. Let me double check before I say the wrong thing. It is May 23rd at 5th and Mad.
5th and Mad. Yep, that's right. This is our first. We're trying out all the different bars in Manhattan. We're going to see which one has the best juju in case we do these things for bigger games down the road. So everyone that's come out, usually they have some sort of Coors Light deals and all that kind of stuff, and they hook it up. We got to get some more of those Coors Light visors too. Those things I've never. The amount of people that were like demanding, I'll pay whatever you want. I'll pay like.
I was getting DMs like I'm out of the state. I can't get to the game for the giveaway. They gotta get it.
I wouldn't mind. We have to talk to the Coors Light people, maybe making some merch out of that, whether it's a visor or like even a shirt or something. But that floral pattern definitely plays. So 3 against the Nats, and then I mean it's wartime. It's Bravos for the weekend, and that's gonna get those feelings back. The nerves are gonna be kicking in. I've been pretty, like I said, even keeled this whole season so far. I feel like that's gonna be the big one, especially when 8th inning, 9th inning. Austin Riley's up. Edwin Diaz ain't coming out of the pen. He kind of alleviated all my fears. It's going to be Robertson, Ottavino. Those are the guys we're going to be leaning on there. So
we also haven't seen them since we got kicked in the teeth. And it feels like, in Beer Fest, he gets the black eye. And then for the whole rest of the year, he just keeps getting punched in the face to remember the feeling. Like,
yeah,
that's where we're at. I need them to come out of the gates hot.
Yes. Agreed. Anything you guys have to add about it? Anything here?
Nothing.
All good. So for the people listening, we made it the whole episode. Kev couldn't come on. Hopefully we'll get him next time. I know he's going to fucking Texas for his KFC radio live show, so hopefully we'll get him on before the Braves series. But no matter what happens in this Nats series, Braves, gotta believe.
Gotta believe.